The House by the Sea. Her message came at 9:47 p.m. I'm just going to the beach house for a few days. I need to clear my head. That house was ours, built on silence, storms, and money. I designed it after my father died. 3 floors of glass and restraint, perched above the cliffs of Ocean View Bay. She used to call it our escape. Now it was her alibi. I stared at her text. The cursor blinked under my thumbs. I typed, then deleted. There's a peculiar calm that comes when you finally stop pretending. The kind of stillness that feels surgical. That night, I found it. So I sent her one line. If you go there with him, we're done. No reply. Just the silence of a marriage that had already stopped breathing. I closed my laptop, opened the case file on my desk, Real Estate Law versus Kensington Development Corp., and smiled faintly. People always think revenge comes from anger. They're wrong. Mine was written in contracts, clauses, and signatures. Because the house she thought she owned wasn't hers anymore. It started 3 months ago. A late night at the firm. She said she was visiting her mother in Santa Barbara, but I knew her mother was in Milan. I drafted the property sale agreement for her mother's villa last year. Details. They always betray liars. That same night, I got a text from my junior associate, Ethan. He saw her at The Rosewood, a coastal hotel we once stayed in for our anniversary. She wasn't alone. I didn't reply. I didn't ask questions. I just filed it under evidence. It's what lawyers do. We don't react. We record. 2 days later, I noticed her perfume changed. She never wore anything floral before. Her laugh did too. Shorter, lighter, rehearsed. At dinner, she asked me about offshore accounts. Said she was curious how property titles could be hidden legally. I told her the truth. Then I watched her face when I said, "It's easier when your spouse trusts you." She didn't flinch, just smiled. That's when I knew. It wasn't just infidelity, it was premeditated. She wasn't just sleeping with someone, she was planning to take something. I began documenting everything: call logs, bank transfers, hidden credit card statements, and eventually, him. His name was Michael Lang, contractor, divorced, 2 kids. Ironically, he worked on luxury renovations for high-end real estate clients, our clients. I'd met him once, at a firm dinner. He shook my hand like a man who'd already decided something. I traced the pattern. She met him during the Ocean View property expansion. She was helping oversee interior design. Her oversight turned into overnight stays. I never confronted her. I let her think I was distant, preoccupied, predictable. She stopped hiding her phone, stopped pretending she wasn't lying. And that's when I started moving quietly. I revised the ownership structure of the beach house, shifted it under a holding company I controlled, then leased it to a new trust, registered under my firm's name. All perfectly legal, all invisible to her. Every signature she'd ever placed on a property document had been reviewed by me. Every title, every clause. She thought she owned half. She owned nothing. When she finally said she needed space, I gave her the address, the House by the Sea. The morning she left, I watched her car disappear down the coastal road from my office window. Her location pinged once on our shared calendar app, Ocean View Bay. Then nothing. By evening, I was already there. Lights off, curtains drawn, the sea roaring below. And across the living room, waiting with me, was his wife, Anna Lang, Michael's wife. I'd contacted her a week ago, told her only what she needed to know, showed her the records, the pictures, the phone logs. She didn't cry. She just said, "I want him to see what he's done." So we planned it, together. She brought their 2 kids, their dog, even his mother. Said they'd been planning a family dinner that night. I told her, let's host it here. When my wife's car pulled into the driveway, I didn't move, just listened to the sound of her footsteps on the wooden deck, her laughter, his voice. Then the door opened. She froze. Her lover's family looked at her like she was a ghost. Anna stood slowly. The children stared. I watched her eyes dart from them to me, realizing every exit was closed. She whispered my name, but I said nothing. I just placed the property deed on the table. The one she thought had both our names. Only one was printed there, mine. The silence was thick, like the air before a storm. Michael stammered first. "What the hell is this?" Anna turned to him, eyes burning. "You tell me." He tried to reach for her. She stepped back. My wife stood in the center of it all, trembling. Her eyes pleaded with me, for mercy, for explanation, for anything familiar. But I'd already buried the man who once loved her. I slid a folder across the table. Inside, photographs, emails, property transfers, everything. "This house," I said quietly, "isn't yours. It's not even mine anymore. I transferred it this morning, to Anna's trust. Consider it compensation." Her lips parted, but no sound came. "You said you needed space," I continued, "so I gave you some. Legally, permanently." The children began to cry. Michael tried to explain. Anna didn't let him. "Don't," she said. "Let them see you for what you are." I walked to the window, watched the waves crush themselves against the rocks. Behind me, the room collapsed into noise, anger, sobs, disbelief. I didn't turn around, didn't need to. Some truths don't need witnesses, only consequences. When I finally spoke again, my voice was calm. "Keys stay here. You all leave by morning." Then I walked out. Dawn came pale and cold. The sky above Ocean View was colorless, like a blank verdict. I parked one last time at the cliff edge, looked down at the house below. Once a dream, now a monument to deceit. They were gone. Only silence remained. The papers were filed. The sale was irreversible. The firm would never know the personal history behind the transaction. Just another legal maneuver. That's the thing about real estate law. It's never really about the land. It's about ownership, control, timing. She thought she could lie her way through contracts, but I write them. I live inside their fine print. When people betray you, they think emotion makes you weak, but detachment, that's the sharpest blade. I didn't ruin her life. I simply let her live in the house she built, one made of her own lies. And as the tide rose, swallowing the rocks below, I whispered the last thing I never said to her. "You should have read the terms." Then I turned away and never looked back.